Arena is a very important game mode in Marvel Strike Force. This is where we get our power cores. That is the premium currency, and that's something you can use to really impact your account in a positive way. At present, the Fantastic Four MCU is the Arena team in this game. The three main new members, so you have Mr. Fantastic MCU, you have Franklin Richards, and you have Invisible Woman MCU. Those are the newer members. Their abilities is what's going to make this team work. So those three individuals, if you just have them, you can really get the ball rolling. If you got Human Torch in the thing, right, if you're just starting out, this 5-piece, again, is going to be amazing. They're going to beat everything that came out before them. So anything you see that does not have a Fantastic Four makeup, they should be able to win, right? We're making a generality there, but in most cases, when you see something that does not have Fantastic Four members versus these members, you should be able to win. If you're much more recent to the game and you don't even have the Fantastic Four MCU, then you should just use the strongest team you have available, whatever team that is, knowing that when you do start running into Fantastic Four members, you're not going to be able to beat them, and that's fine. You just got to take things as they come. A good investment always is your raid teams. You have to have raid teams. Raid should be the #1 game mode for anybody who's just starting out, because this is where you're going to get your resources. You need those resources to increase the abilities and power level of your characters. So raid should be important. So just go ahead and use your raid teams until you start running into Fantastic Four members, knowing that, right, you're just not going to be able to do anything about that until you get equally equipped. Once you are able to get that team up and running, you're probably going to start a hybrid version at some point. As you can see, I'm using Emma Frost and Vulture. Why? Because Emma Frost is part of the Hellfire Club team. She's a raid character. Vulture is part of the Insidious 6. He also is a raid character. So you should have these. And they both give you speed control, letting you go faster, take more turns, and that's going to help you win most matchups. So in this case, we're going to go into the opposing hybrid here. They have a Quasar and Old Man Logan. Both of those characters are good characters, and they have MCU on their side. So time-wise, things should be a toss-up, but as you can see, we have the advantage. We're able to go first. We're going to be able to take more turns just because we have Emma Frost and Vulture. Okay, really, once their Invisible Woman MCU is gone, their ability to do damage to us is severely lessened. We're hitting hard. That Old Man Logan is there, but we're going to have the advantage really quickly here. Again, we need to remember that this team is made, Fantastic Four MCU is made to excel in this game mode. Other characters, generally speaking, are at a disadvantage. Unless they're super powerful, you should be able to have the advantage and get more wins. Our second example is going to go into a full MCU team. So you'll be facing that a lot. And again, this is for individuals who are kind of coming up maybe in the mid game, or if you don't have any super powerful mythic type characters. Okay, you should be able to line up and beat any other Fantastic Four group you come across with this setup. It just gives you more turns. Once again, you have the advantage in speed. You go more often, so that should guarantee you the win as long as you have the power, right? You can punch up a decent amount. So I would just keep going until you can't go anymore, man. It'll give you a good perspective on what you can do. With this newer account of mine, I'm in close to about the top 50, right? We're kind of playing around with that 55 to 45 range. It's not amazing, but it keeps me in that range. It gives me a steady dose of power cores and allows me to pull off the wins. We have an example here with Neanderthal on the left-hand side. He has a pretty decent sized null. Again, this is for those of us who are coming up, who are kind of in the mid game. We might not have any super powerful characters. That might be one of the strongest individuals we've run across. So as we load in, we're keeping in mind that this team is very strong, right? Numbers wise, they're stronger than we are, and they have a special character in Null. But again, we get to go first, and we get to keep the pressure on. We'll be able to get rid of their Emma Frost relatively quickly. And it's just, are we able to take damage ourselves? So our Emma is gone. We're getting ready to use our ultimate here with Invisible Woman. That should eliminate their Emma, and Null takes a really, really big hit. If we can remove him from the board, that's a plus. He's going to do some damage there, but because of Franklin's battlefield effect, right, the darkness doesn't come up, so Null isn't able to do Null type things. So now it's really going to come down to, do we have the punching power to beat this team? Again, they're physically stronger than we are. As we just said, we're punching up a fair amount. They have diamonds right? We do not. Well, we had a couple. You saw our team. We had a couple. But as you can see the difference, right? You can see the difference, the amount of damage I can shell out versus the amount that we're able to take. We're not, right? We're not as beefy as they are. So just don't give up the fights, right? Just keep trying to go forwards. You need to just be mindful that you want to control. This was maybe a mistake there. I needed to control Mr. Fantastic, right? I don't want him to taunt because I want to still be able to do damage to the other parts of the team. And now we're doing pretty good, right? As long as he doesn't take another turn, we should be okay. We do have a death proof on Franklin and on Invisible Woman. And we get to keep taking our turns because of what we talked about earlier. So again, we're going to win this matchup. You're able to do some pretty decent punch-ups with this combo. As we evolve into the end game, individuals will have Professor X. They'll be using him, and without him, it's very difficult to beat, right? No Fantastic Four combo by itself is going to beat that. So typically what you're going to see is the Franklin Richards, Invisible Woman, Mr. Fantastic, plus Professor X. And then that fifth character slot is typically going to change. In most cases, you'll see that fifth character slot either be Odin, Apocalypse, or Emma Frost. And there's like a rock, paper, scissors things going. So if you see Odin, you're going to use Emma Frost to get the speed advantage and beat him. If you see Apocalypse, you're going to use Odin. He's just going to overpower Apocalypse. If you see Emma, you'll use Apocalypse as the fifth because he's not susceptible to the speed bar manipulation. If you see Blue Marvel, well, we'll talk about him in a minute. He definitely is a problem. I don't have an Odin matchup to show you, but we can look at the other two. So the opponent here has Apocalypse. We're going to then choose Odin, and right now we're just relying on sheer power, right? There's other ways to do this, but we're just relying on overpowering our opponent at this point because Odin is such a strong character. There are some random elements still that can be involved, right? If the Professor X can get out of hand, we might still lose the match, but this is generally speaking just how I proceed. There's more. This is a general way to get things done, right? There are better ways to do things. This is just a general way that I use to just keep things simple so I can pop in, get as many wins as I possibly can in the time allotted. Once their Professor X is out of the way, I still have Odin and Professor X. I should have the upper hand. If I lose one of them, the match, I can still win. If I was to lose both of them, the match is probably then over. Just to reiterate, this is what my save squad looks like in Arena. So it's, again, the same 4-piece teams. The only variant is Emma, Odin, and Apocalypse, just so I can switch up to go after the most appropriate combo. For the second matchup, we did indeed find an Emma. That she seems to be the most common on the defensive side, and we're going to use Apocalypse. Now, I understand she's probably the most common because depending on where you are in the game, right, people that are coming up behind may not have Apocalypse. With my newer account, I'm not sure if I'm going to go after Apocalypse. So even if I lose him here, I still negated the speed of Emma, which means I still get to go first. I still have the speed advantage. So we're still going to win this matchup. Professor X is getting ready to go. But again, I think that's the reason why we see her so often on the defensive side is just because at the mid-game-ish type level, people may not have an Apocalypse. So this defense seems to hold more often. So then, what about Blue Marvel? Well, again, he's a problem. Typically, when I see him, I just use my Odin combo, and we're just trying to hopefully survive the initial burst, okay? He's going to go early. He's going to go first. And how many characters does he set up of mine to get knocked out? We see our Invisible Woman MCU, right? She's looking pretty weak. If she takes another hit, so just like that, she's gone, but I still have Odin. I still have Professor X. So this is the thing about Blue Marvel. Depending on how many people get hit, how many of the opposing players go, right? How many characters you lose off the bat, that's going to determine whether you win or lose. So we got Professor X. I get to go there. Blue Marvel is gone. So now the tables have turned. I didn't lose any of my big heavy hitters. So just like that, their Professor X is down. So the tables turn just like that. I'm going to win this matchup. So we'll go after him again, same matchup, but we're going to see the outcome this time is going to be different. Blue Marvel, he goes. Now he hit my Professor X more than anybody else. I already lost Invisible Woman. Once the opponents take a turn, I'm going to lose my Professor X. And right, that's significantly going to decrease the chances that I'm going to win. So people use Dormammu on their side here when they're going against Blue Marvel. It doesn't guarantee a win, but what it does do is if you are losing members like this, at least they get to revive and the fight can be prolonged, and it increases the opportunity for you to pull off the victory. So these are the general tips that I have concerning Arena. That again, I'm not the best strategist in the game. I'm just a grinder. I'm just here to just go get it, try hard, and not give up. So if you have any questions, perhaps I can answer them for you, or maybe we can find those answers. We know there's a lot of different ways to do things. There's a couple more different strategies out there that I definitely had not considered. So please take a look at this video right here. Right, if you haven't seen this one, it's pretty good. It's legit. And this other one here, this is Duelim. He goes into much more detail about Arena. So if you're into Arena and you really want to start literally crunching the numbers, here is an excellent video for you to watch. Check it out, man.